everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I have something very fun planned. A couple months back I tweeted out that I wanted your hottest anime takes. I'm talking very spicy. I told you guys not to sugarcoat these takes and I got a lot of responses. There's over 1,000 replies there, so if your take didn't make this video, if you guys like this video, let me know and we'll make it into a series. But basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna react to all these spicy takes, and I have my friend Wednesday here who is both a manga reader and an anime watcher. I think of him as like the professional to go to whenever I have anime or manga questions. And then I also have my friend Squids here who watches a lot of anime and reads some manga. Wednesday, Squids, is there anything you want to say before we start?
I'm sitting here milli rocking like people on the camera can actually see me. But I'm excited to actually do this video because I've been bugging you to do this for the past like 3-4 months.
True.
And yeah, let's get this done.
Also, I do want to say my friend Steven just joined as well. Steven, very good.
And he just dropped his Nintendo Switch.
Died.
Sorry, I got nervous.
Steven, is there anything you want to say?
Hi.
I think because Wednesday's in here, we should start with Wednesday. Wednesday said, FUDRU, Deku is the most overhated anime character of all time, and he's actually one of the best new gen main characters. Also, Denji is one of the best written main characters as well.
I don't know if that's a hot take. I feel like that's like a warm take.
I think,
No,
I think it's a warm take.
Like, I feel like I've heard that a lot, and I don't understand why. Because he's like a crybaby or whatever, but it's like, dude, he's like tearing apart his body every time he does something.
And it's like, A, he stops being a crybaby 2 seasons in, and I think I will say that Denji take was hot about 6 months ago before the anime. Because before the anime, people weren't that crazy about Denji, but I feel like the anime really pushed him forward for a lot of people, me included, because I was kind of on the fence about him. The anime kind of sold me. I also think Deku is so hated for no reason other than he cries a couple times in the first couple seasons.
Yeah,
like, get some new material because that's the only negative I've heard about this guy.
Yeah, for me it's kind of a warm take just because I stay away from the My Hero fandom just because I feel like, especially like towards content creators, they have been very cruel. So I try to specifically stay away, and I know there's great My Hero fans who actually love content creators who, you know, engage in the community, are constantly positive. I know there are My Hero fans out there, but again, with any anime that is so large, obviously you're gonna get people who are just very intimidating. So for me, I don't really read a lot of opinions about My Hero. So I've always liked Deku. I think Deku's great. But there's like also a reason why I don't react to My Hero on my channel, you know?
I'm gonna be that guy. A lot of the fandom is children, all right? So yeah, get your panties out of a bunch. I don't know.
Grow older.
This for me is like one of the hot takes. Selena TKN0801, don't know her, but if I did, she looks like a very beautiful woman and I would lay my life down for her to just kiss her feet. She said, Kobeni's straight up annoying. Useless character that people defend by saying she's supposed to represent us and be relatable. Like, dude, maybe for a normie like you, the story would have carried on just fine without one annoying character.
I agreed with her at first, and then Kobeni went insane, and I loved her. I love her now. Like when she went unhinged, that was amazing to me.
I'm like taking off my shirt for this one because I'm scorching. I'm sweating, and ironically, she's wearing Kobeni's shirt. I can't see her right now because she doesn't have her camera on, but I know her is wearing one.
I am. Kobeni Stan Nation right here. You already know.
Thing is, the only argument I would have for the take is the one where she's like, yeah, big whoop. She's supposed to represent everybody else because she's nothing special other than she's like talented in what she does. While I don't agree, she is entitled to her opinion. I'll accept this one. This is a very scorching hot take.
For me, I think this is understandable for me. Like, I love Kobeni. I think she's so cute. She's so funny. And she adds so much to the dynamic of Chainsaw Man. However, if someone doesn't like Kobeni and like thinks that Kobeni is annoying or unbearable, like I think that's valid. Because like for me personally, like in Demon Slayer, I don't like Zenitsu. I only like Zenitsu when he's like asleep, right?
Asleep, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So like if I sat here and shat on Selena for not liking Kobeni when I don't like Zenitsu, like goofy, silly Zenitsu, then it's like I would be a hypocrite. So I think like Wednesday said, I feel like that's like understandable if someone doesn't like Kobeni, but like I feel like the majority of Chainsaw Man fans love Kobeni, you know? So Yora, Yora Crab says, at Deputy Aru, never an anime has made me as angry as Seven Deadly Sins. There are genuinely no redeeming qualities about it.
The anime? Yeah, that's facts. Honestly, I love Seven Deadly Sins, the story, because it's so good. When I finished season 2, like I was so hungry for more, I wanted to read the manga, and that's what got me hooked into it, so much so that I got the tattoo on my arm. But when it came back to the anime and season 3 came out, that just killed all the hype it had going for it. And that was when the plot really started getting good. That's when hits the fan. Everything is hardcore, basically, like the world is at stake. But because the animation is gone, it lost so much interest in the fans. So nobody cared to pay attention to it when the story was getting towards its peak. If you enjoy Seven Deadly, then after season 2, I would definitely recommend just reading it.
Yeah, I feel like the older I get, the more it bothers me, like the pervy stuff. Like when I was like a horny teenager, you know, I didn't give a f- I was like, yeah, boobies, whatever.
Yeah.
But now that I'm getting older, I'm like, yo, this like I'm tired of this. Can you stop?
Yeah, I'm the same way. But the thing is, I think that's like because the Western audience, I feel like there's like definitely a culture where like the that happens in Seven Deadly Sins is 100% not okay in the West. The Western audience is like, this is shit. I don't want to consume this, right? Like, this is not okay. But I feel like internationally, it has a pretty hefty fan base, you know? This one is from Sky. Says, Deputy Aru, people only like Naruto because we had no standards at the time. My take is, okay, and I don't want to get canceled for this, but I know Naruto fans are going to be upset with me. I have tried to watch it so many times, and I just cannot, for the life of me, get into it. And I feel like genuinely, like I'm part of the camp whereas like if Naruto came out today, it would not survive. I think because Naruto was one of the first and one of the first anime that was like laying out the groundwork for future anime, people loved it and consider it one of the best of all time. I feel like if Bleach came out today, Bleach 100% could compete and would continue to be beloved and consumed. You know, which it is. I feel like if One Piece came out today, people would still love One Piece, still consume it. I feel like Naruto's one of the weakest out of the big three. I'm sorry. I know I hurt you deep.
I'm in the opposite camp. I think this is a hot take in my opinion. I also don't agree with it. I definitely think there is a fall off. There's a very obvious fall off in Naruto, and somebody mentions it in one of these takes, by the way. But I don't agree with this take at all. Legend of Galactic Heroes. If that came out today, like the OG one came out today, oh my god, everyone would hate it. But it's considered a classic. It's considered an absolute classic. JoJo's Part 1. It's outdated. There's a lot of people that drop JoJo's around Part 1.
JoJo's Part 1 is outdated for sure. I like it though.
And I don't consider Naruto outdated. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's my own attachment to the series and all the characters I love. One of my favorite anime fights of all time is actually in Naruto.
I mean, Naruto was like my first. That's what got me into like this whole anime and manga thing. After watching like, you know, different shows, like I can definitely see why you would think like it wouldn't survive now. It's like 50% filler, first of all. That was so annoying.
Yeah.
And I just felt like while everyone else was like getting cooler and cooler and learning like more and more and like newer, cooler abilities, Naruto just had the same like 3 things throughout the entire show. And I was just like, bro, like do something new. But I do still enjoy it, but it's definitely not up there like it used to be for me.
I kind of feel that opinion halfway. I think Naruto itself would not be as popular as it was if it came out now, but Shippuden is when, without the filler, like Squid said, I think Shippuden would be as hype and as beloved as it always has been.
This one's from Maru's You. It says, Dragon Ball is trash, always has been trash, always will be trash.
Except for Future Trunks. That part's important.
Yeah, except for Future Trunks. But I feel like a lot of anime fans say this as like I just legitimately don't believe that anybody could think that Dragon Ball is trash. Like, I think that's the most outlandish claim ever. I feel like it's a claim that you're intentionally saying it just to poke people and get a reaction. Because in no world could you legitimately ever argue that it's trash. You can't argue that. You can say it and everyone will look at you like you're bat crazy, but you can't argue it. There are things about Dragon Ball that you can dislike, but to say the entire series is trash is outlandish to me.
Dragon Ball is iconic, and a lot of people consider it the best series out of the 4 main series. I've never seen it personally. Dragon Ball Z is the reason we even have anime in the West, or at least a big reason we even have an anime in the West.
True.
GT, trash. I'll give you that, except
GT
Super
was
Saiyan
trash.
4.
Yeah,
GT,
Super Saiyan 4 was goated, and then everything else was garbage.
I mean, Tournament of Power, people are still talking about how many years has it been off? It's been off for like 5 years now. We're still talking about the Tournament of Power. We're still talking about UI Goku. They still just popped out 2 movies that sold out the box office. There's no basis here.
And to argue, Dragon Ball had one of the best movies of all time. Biohazard Broly will not be trifled with. How dare you, first off.
Get out of here.
How dare you?
No way.
This is why nobody watches your anime takes. Honestly, Dragon Ball Z had great movies. There were some bad ones, but I mean,
no, Dragon
Tree
Ball's
of
great,
Might was
dude.
good.
So this one is from the Otaku Nate show. Deputy R, Lelouch is hardly the genius tactician the weebs say he is. If he didn't have that magic eye or opera costume, he'd be a nobody. Listen here, get the off my favorite anime, Code Geass. No, I'm kidding, I haven't watched it.
This is a scorching hot take. This is not only a hot take, this is a dumb take. This is stupid. This tells me you watched 2 episodes and did not understand a thing that you watched. Because the whole point of Lelouch's character is he is a genius. He's literally a genius. That's why they always implement him playing chess or something like that.
Let him know.
He's literally, they even stated in the 2nd season that like his brother was like genius level intellect and he outsmarts him and he out-tacticians him. So to say that the eye is all he has when he was literally plotting the demise of the world empire from the student council, bro, you're on.
Nate,
you
you're
didn't
getting
watch the
cooked
show.
right now, bro. You're getting cooked right now.
You didn't watch the show. That's all I gotta say. You watched 5 episodes and dropped it, and that's fine. Just say that.
Yeah,
but
just
don't
say
make
that.
a stupid take. Like this.
Exactly.
Don't.
I agree with Wednesday. You're just getting cooked, bro. If that were me personally, I could not take that. I personally would not. So good cooking. Good cooking, Wednesday. Gina-san said, Deputy Aru, some filler can be good. Some. Come get me, Aru. So I don't know why you think that I would get you for this take, because I agree that some filler can be good. So like one of my favorite fillers of all time is when Champa and Beerus play baseball. I love that filler. I'm not against filler. I grew up with Inuyasha, so Inuyasha has really, really good fillers. However, I think the reason why people hate filler is not because of the filler itself, but because of how many fillers are stacked up together. So like in Bleach, I hate Bleach fillers because I had to sit through 30 at a time. But if I only had to sit through 1 Bleach filler, I probably could have enjoyed the filler, right? I think it's not the actual content of the filler, but more so how much filler there has been in anime, if that makes sense.
I think it's a hot take because of just how people, like, you hear the word filler and red flags go off. I think a lot of it does attribute back to when we were younger and we didn't have the internet like we do now, where you could just find the anime online. You had to sit through it. I get why people hated it. I do think some filler also can be good because One Piece has been implementing some filler content into their newest episodes, and it's really enhanced the material. So I actually agree with this take.
Yeah, I agree with the take very much.
Bleach, the Bount arc, that was filler, right?
Yeah, the Bount arc's filler, and that one people look at very highly, actually.
Yeah, I like that one.
I'm actually not against filler. I'm against excessive filler, you know?
Yeah.
So this one is from Yaki. Okay, Yaki is my love of my life. I would kiss that woman. But she says, this is more of an elitist take, but since anime has become mainstream, a lot of folks have been entering the space and just blatantly disregarding previously established communities and their rules, as well as being super rude and making everything into a competition. I cannot agree with this take enough. I don't know if it makes me elitist-y or what, but I feel like, especially because like when I was watching Bleach, I was watching Bleach as it was coming out, and I was watching it during like the latest episodes were when Ichigo first fights Byakuya. It had just revealed his Bankai, and everybody in the Bleach community, from what I saw and experienced online, was awesome, especially because a lot of people who watched Bleach during that time were older. And there was way less toxicity. Like every time I spoke about Bleach, like it was a constructive conversation. We all loved it. And then like just recently, I reacted to the final season, the final trailer for the final season of Bleach, and there were so many toxic Bleach fans in my comments. I was shocked. I was like, I have never had this experience with the Bleach community before. And it's so sad to see because like I've always spoken the Bleach community with like such high regard, you know, because of my experience. But now like, I don't know, I was just really taken aback by the reaction that I got when I reacted to the Bleach trailer. Well, and it's also like not related to what Yaki said, but like in high school, my friends would make fun of me for liking anime. So I would talk about anime all the time because that's like one of the hobbies like I was obsessed with. My friends would make fun of me because obviously they didn't watch anime, and then literally the next year when anime started like popping off and becoming mainstream, they suddenly became anime fans and started cosplaying, going to conventions, all this shit, and it really pissed me off. Yeah, it's like, well, what the f, you guys? Like, what the f? And I'm sure a lot of people watching this video can relate to that, you know? I think it's a hot take. I think it's a hot take for people who are like just getting into anime. I feel like people who just get into anime are gonna think it's a hot take because it is kind of gatekeepy, but like I think it's gatekeepy in a good way, if that makes sense.
I feel like it's not saying you can't join these communities and enter the space. It's just saying like
be respectful about it.
Exactly. I wouldn't say it's a hot take. I wouldn't even say it's a cold take though. I would just say it's weird. I would just say this is a take.
This is a take, yeah. Yaki, this is a take. This is a take. This one is from Tony and Stalak Tony. Jujutsu Kaisen has little to no character development. The story is lackluster and the action falls flat because I don't care about any of the characters or their motivations. This for me is a very, very hot take, and I feel like, honestly, I don't know how to argue this without like legitimately asking like, did you watch the show?
I feel like a lot of the character development isn't in your face, which is why you feel like there's not. Because to be fair, he said that and I thought about it. I was like, huh, is there character development? And I thought about it a little more. And I said, you know what, there is. Because I watched the show and I paid attention. The story's lackluster, that's your opinion. I don't agree, that's a hot take. And the action falls flat because I don't care about any of the characters or their motivations. I mean, I couldn't care less about half of Demon Slayer people's motivations, but I still watch that and I still get hype. I think you just don't like the show. And that's okay. You're allowed to not like it.
No, it's not okay. This is the one anime where it's not okay. How dare you?
Fine. It's not okay. You're not allowed to dislike this.
Like Tony, I mean this with all respect. I think when you say something this batch insane, you have to back it up with like some sort of explanation on why you're saying it, because this is wild to me. How do you say that? I think the Rika Yuji or the Rika Yuta fight is one of the best fights of all time in anime that I've ever experienced. You know, think of that fight in particular, and then I read the action falls flat. You have to give me an example about what exactly are you talking about here? This one's got me a little bit. This is from Gausaman. I absolutely love the original Hellsing anime than the OVAs, but I do love both of the versions. I just don't love the OVA art style, even though the style in OVAs resemble closely to the manga's art style. Too gritty for me.
It's a hot take. I'm not gonna.
Here we go again.
So Ari, to give you some background, the original Hellsing anime follows the manga up until, if I remember correctly, like episode 6. And then it diverts into its own story. The OVAs came out years later and followed the manga. Now, mind you, the OVAs are 10 episodes, they're 45 minutes each. And the OVAs are the ones that whenever you see Hellsing online, that's the one they reference. This is a very hot take. I'm very interested as to the reason, because you actually give reasoning. I'm interested that you're into Hellsing, but you're not into the gritty, seeing as how Hellsing is literally about vampires and zombies. And it's essentially just Dracula murdering everything that he can get his hands on. So this is an interesting it's a hot take, but it's an extremely interesting take, and I actually appreciate it because this is another one. This is another one you don't see this online every day. That was me pointing to a gold star in the top right corner of the screen.
This one is by Butter645. Deputy Aru, Sword Art Online is a wonderful show, and half of the people who hate it have no media literacy and do not pay attention to it. Coming from a person who is in a relationship with someone who struggles with PTSD, this show is really raw with those topics.
I'm sure I could find about 70 other shows that are very raw with that same topic.
As someone who has PTSD, I just find the show fucking boring.
Yes, exactly. It's like, as someone who has PTSD, It doesn't do it for me. I think this isn't the part of the video where I get canceled, but Sword Art Online is garbage. The problem with Sword Art Online is that it had so much infinite potential. I feel like arguably like Sword Art Online could have genuinely have been the best anime of all time. It had that potential and it was on the road to become that. However, I feel like somewhere down the line, especially after like the first game, it detoured and it turned out to be a cheap harem. And it constantly kept recycling over-sexualized characters, and Kirito kept getting powered scale to the point where nobody could keep up. And it was kind of just ridiculous and felt more like a parody than it did an actual show. I think the first Sword Art Online, like when they were in Sword Art Online, I really genuinely believe with the path they were on, if they had just kept the road they were on, I really think it had infinite potential, especially like because Asuna is one of the best female protagonists, especially like when you first see her in Sword Art Online. Like she's constantly like keeping up with Kirito, she's constantly power scaling with him, and she's really supportive and still like very vulnerable emotionally. And it was nice to see a character like that, but to see her just get reduced to being part of that cheap harem fan servicey bullshit sucked. And the moment they got out of Sword Art Online, I think that's when everything really got unbearable. So the majority of anime fans stopped. If you're a Sword Art Online fan and you enjoy it, great, but I think it's completely valid that a bunch of people don't like it.
This came out the same time, Sword Art, first season, at the same time as Attack on Titan season 1. And that was the only two anime people were watching at that time.
Exactly.
Everybody you saw was either rocking the Kirito jacket or the Survey Corps.
Yeah, 100%.
So just to sit here and say that half the people who hate it have no media literacy, that's where this gets hot. That's where it gets hot. Because you're saying people don't like it because they're stupid. The first 12 episodes are great. The moment they leave Sword Art was such a slog. Such a slog. It's so boring. It's so bad. You have the weird anime tentacles for no reason. And Gun Gale sucks. Elicitation wasn't that good. Just get out. Go away. Shoot.
Yeah. And like I've been trying to keep up with it, and like the more I watch, the more bored I get.
At the time when Sword Art Online first came out, I was like, this is gonna be the greatest anime of all time. And then I kept watching and I was like, fuck! So this one is from Lilith. Lilith, you're lucky. One of your dog shit takes made it in. It says, Deputy Aru, Domestic Girlfriend is one of the best shonen romances ever made and has the single greatest openings of all time. I don't watch shonen romance. Let me reiterate. I watch shonen because I like shonen, but I don't watch specifically romance anime directed towards men. I am more of like a shoujo girl, and so I can't I cannot really give my opinion on this take.
Honestly, you have an avid shoujo enjoyer over there. You have an avid josei enjoyer over here. I do also agree that shonen romance is just kind of lacking in something. There's something not there.
Well, I don't know. Lilith, I'm unable to decide if this is a hot take or not, so I'm gonna leave it to the YouTube comments to decide for you. This one's for the audience. Go, be free. Right. Kaze Kunai says, Deputy Aru, Hunter is so good, but the Ant arc pace is really slow. Dragon Ball Super Goku over Dragon Ball Z Goku. Demon Slayer, I feel, gets like overhated. My Hero Academia can be aight at times, hit or miss with me, while Dragon Ball Super Drawing can be I say it can't be that bad. At most, it's decent good.
Hunter x Hunter is so good, but the Ant arc pace is really slow. Yeah, you're capping on that second one. That's a bad take. It's a hot take, it's a bad take. Super Goku is stupid. Z Goku is actually good. Demon Slayer, I feel like it's overhated. Yeah, I'll agree with that. My Hero Academia can be aight at times. That's just a take. That's just the take. It's not a hot, that's not a cold take, that's a take. And while DBS Strong can be I say it can't be that bad. At most, it's decent good. If you're talking about the manga, I mean, Dragon Ball, nobody's reading Dragon Ball for the art. So I feel like that's If you're talking about early Super's art style, then you're capping on that. It was awful, and that's why a lot of people dropped it.
But that's like any anime can have moments like that. Like you ever pause the screen and the character just looks like dumb as f.
Yeah, but it was like the first 15 episodes.
Oh yeah, that
all
was
had
rough.
that
it was
animation.
definitely rough. Yeah.
I feel like Demon Slayer gets overhated. I believe that. I feel like a lot of people hate on Demon Slayer just to hate on it. Like, I feel like a lot of people hate on Dragon Ball just to hate on it. I feel like a lot of people hate on One Piece just to hate on it, right? So I feel like definitely it's part of that, especially like what Squid said, when you have a big audience already, you're gonna get hated on no matter what. I don't mind Dragon Ball Super Goku, but I prefer Dragon Ball Z Goku, of course. I think the My Hero anime is, it started out so strong and so great, but I feel like at least, especially like the recent seasons have been, lackluster.
But she would agree.
I haven't watched Hunter x Hunter.
Would agree.
It's in the list, it's in the list. People say that I'm like, what do you guys say, I'm gone?
Oh, you're gone 110%.
Everybody, thank you so much for watching this video. If you want us to do more of these, do that thing that you do that you supposed to do if you want to. And I stream every night on twitch.tv/Aru. And also, I think it would be also fun if we did a video of our like super hot takes, because I got a lot of hot takes too. Like reading these, I realized I have very much hot takes. So I hope you guys are enjoying the more consistent content and the more YouTube exclusive content. And yeah, I'll see you guys later. Bye!